Hi everyone, welcome back to Smartyink Workshop. You see we're in a new space here. I have acquired a new space where I live and we'll call it the Smartyink Clubhouse. I will showcase all my works and makes in here because there's no resin or rubber or dust or hair or this or that or glue to ruin my work. So I'll be filming in here and we'll have a nice clean space to talk to you guys about. So thank you again for joining me. And here she is, Cersei Lannister from Game of Thrones, my favorite evil character on that show. And this original 3D model that I made has been sanded and primed and ready to be painted. I'm so ready to get to this because I want to see this finished. Let's freshen up our palette with a nice fresh piece of wax paper. So we can get started. We're going to use Vallejo paints as always, and I'm going to use basic skin flesh, light flesh, and some other flesh, and a bunch of other fleshes mixed together. You make your own combination. And here you have all the fleshes like I promised. Now, I know most people would airbrush the base coat of the skin to get a flawless finish, but if you take your time with the brush and thin out your paints, you won't have any brush strokes. And I'm not going to sit there and change my pot and clean the pot in the airbrush every 5 seconds. I just cannot do it, so I choose to paintbrush, and I love it. Okay, now that the face is done being painted, we're going to move on and paint this hair. I've mixed a light brown and a sort of apricot color together and came up with some brassy blonde like Cersei's wig. And I'm using little liner brushes to squeeze in between those little edges and just make sure everything is right and tight on this hair paint. Let's paint this quick lip here and get that out of the way. And speaking of quick, I designed these busts in a way where I can paint them quickly. So I don't do much underneath. I call them quick busts because they were quick to make, and I have a base to start off with each one, and I can just transform it into whoever I want, and it works for me. And now that the lip is done, let's put on some eyebrows. Again, I'm using the light brown and apricot color, but I've mixed it more on the brown side because Cersei's eyebrows are darker than her hair on the show. And I'm sorry for the poor angle here, but I need to set up a camera rig so we can get some better angles. So after I'm done with the brows, I go ahead and proceed with my usual pastel kind of application method, except that my brush was wet and I didn't know. And it was the best thing that ever happened because it gave me great shadows, smooth, amazing. Okay, I am obsessed. I will always dampen my brush before using pan and do lowlights on hair and highlights or whatever, because it is amazing. I'm like, what the okay. So I have sprayed Mr. Super Clear in between each layer of this wet pan pastel, and it just allows me to make the color deeper and richer in the darker, more recessed areas, and it is amazing. You guys have to seriously try this. If you don't like to airbrush, or dry pastel sometimes makes a little bit of a mess and makes things muddy, this is amazing. And if you don't like it, you just wipe it right off with your finger or a tissue, water, whatever. It's just amazing. Try this at home. Okay, now that we're done with the wop 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 wet ass pastel, let's move on to dry pastel. Okay, and when pastel shading, I always start off with a burnt sienna because I like to, and it just gives me the right shading, and I go from there. So we're going to start with that, and followed by red pastel, and then a touch of purple. And that's usually the only three colors I use, sometimes a little yellow, and that's about as far as I go with the pan pastel shading of skin. Now, some of you may ask, why is he not airbrushing these shades on prior to painting? Here's why. Because there's a lot of little crevices, and I like the control of a small brush and the dry pastel. And I've had models that are airbrushed and pastel, and side by side, you cannot really tell the difference if it's done correctly. So that's why. Each layer you apply a pastel really helps to bring your model to life. You know, it's like skin has a lot of variations in colors and layers, so keep applying, keep sealing in between each layer. It's very important that you do, otherwise your pastels will get muddy. Okay, I've said it before, and I think I'm obsessed with red and purple pastels. Like, someone help me. She's gonna have more blush than, like, I don't know, Liza Minnelli. Also, let me just throw in there that I know I'm supposed to be making masks, but I mean, masks are faces, and so are the 3D models. They're faces, and they're just quicker and easier and less cleanup. So you guys have to tolerate my 3D models in between mask videos from now on, because that's what I'm giving you, and you better like it. Thanks. Oh my word, I'm just obsessed with this 3D model. Like, I can't believe I made this. Like, what the heck is happening in my life? Okay, finally, some light touches of purple pastel, and then we will stop pasteling this chick. I promise. Is this the Queen of the Seven Kingdoms or what, guys? Dang. Alright, I'm going in, painting her armor. I'm going to paint the entire thing a soft black. I used like a powder blue and black, just so it's not so dramatically dark, because it just looks, I don't know, a little too much sometimes when it's just pure black. So try mixing something lighter and you'll be surprised. Then it'll accept more highlight color if you choose to pastel that as well. Okay, also, on another note, if anyone has noticed, I never mask because I hate masking. It takes forever, it's annoying. I usually end up gouging my paint trying to remove it, so hell to the no. So, this is why I go in with patience. If something is too small, get a liner brush. Take your damn time and it will come out nicely. All this wasted time on masking is insane. So, try it. It actually makes you better with brush control, knowing that you cannot and will not touch this shit up after you're done. Good luck. Wow, everyone, I'm really happy with this paint job so far. Like, just the tones, seems to be settling in perfectly. And my roommate says that my paint jobs are always too dark, so take that. Okay, we're going in with some copper paints here from Blick Arts. This seems to be the nicest one I've used. I've used many and they don't cover as well as this one. So if you're looking for something that has good coverage in the metallics, try the Blick Art paints. Alright, now I pulled out the smallest, tiniest brush I have to paint these little tiny studs that I've made. And it looks pretty good so far. Let me know what you think. And here she is. I've dry brushed the spikes and the other plates with silver. I don't know where the footage went, so you just get to see the final result here. It does need some touching up, so I'll go back in there and smooth it out. But overall, I'm pleased with the color palette. I think it looks like something she would wear, and it looks good. Okay, I'm going into these very small eyes with some lightest flesh color by Vallejo, and hopefully I don't mess it up. Eyes always give me a hard time. They're small, they're annoying, and that's what it's like. And after I'm done with that, I will outline the very inside of her eyes with reddish flesh because it adds an element of realness. These eyeballs look so wicked. see if we can paint the eyelashes without ruining them now, because I don't like to mask, as I mentioned earlier. Now, Cersei has green eyes, so I have mixed a soft green, a little bit deep, but that's what I'm going to use to apply a nice little iris shape there. And I'm going to go with the lighter shade of that to go in the middle, as you can see, to highlight the eye. And then after that, I will apply the black pupil very carefully. Again, not using pure black, using the same black I used on the leather, which is a soft black. And after that, I will add a tiny reflection dot using lightest flesh. And it's as simple as that. And the eyes look very real. Super simple, nothing complicated. And I made it out of there in one piece. She looks awesome. Wow, I'm obsessed with this. It's amazing. I'm very proud of it, and I hope you guys like this, and I hope you learned something with this paint job. I always learn something every time I make a new project, so hopefully you guys do too. Alright everybody, I hope that you enjoyed that video and enjoyed the painting process. I know I did / didn't, but we got there, and I really enjoy how she came out. And I think she looks a lot like Cersei Lannister. Evil Cersei. Shame. Shame. We'll see you all next time. Thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or I'm going to send Cersei to your house and you know what she's like. See you next time. And I want to remind everyone that in the next couple of weeks, an Annabelle mask will be up for grabs to a lucky subscriber. So I'm going to make that mask in the next few days, and I will show it to you all, and we can go from there. So I'll make a video on that. But I just wanted to give you a heads up that it's going to be Annabelle, and she's one of my favorite masks. It's awesome. I've only made one, and it's in like Japan or somewhere. So I hope that we can have another one somewhere else.